Hi, this is Hart, and I am about to start gathering the images I want for abandoned places. I haven't gone through and done the gel medium on each of these pages yet. The reason I haven't done that is because I see that my spine is already kind of coming apart. And I'm asking myself, given that it's a stitched spine, do I want to remake this book before I get started in it into Coptic stitch? I learned from Sea Lemon, another YouTube artist, which I'll link her information down below. Oh, this is the page I was looking for. That how to do a Coptic stitch. So she gives an excellent tutorial on that. She gives excellent tutorials on anything bookmaking. So I'll share that link with you. But I went through and found my own pictures from when I went. Isn't this a creepy thing? How it looks like it illuminated in my picture? Look at that. Isn't that creepy? Never noticed that before. Okay. Maybe it's because of the way my ink was running out or something. We'll just call it that. Because I can see it here too. But what I'm gonna do for my Pompeii pages is go in and fussy cut out the images I took. This guy was in storage, so he's not even behind glass. It's just overwhelming, isn't it? Just overwhelming. So these are definitely going to go with my Pompeii pages. And there's more than one page they have for Pompeii, Herculaneum, Italy. Maybe there isn't. Oh no, there is. See, look at this page right here. It's just one big blank page. So I have plenty of room to put my images on these two pages. So let me take you through some other images while I was flipping that I decided needed to go into my Abandoned Places book. And this is the start of my journey, and I'm gonna how do I say this? I'm just gonna use these images that are my own because I want my own piece inside of this book. Oh, there's another Pompeii. Actually, I think that's the one they have in their book. Yeah, look at that. That's the same. So I don't know if I'll use that or not. Because it's the same. So what I'm going to do in today's video is just show you the images I chose out of my own personal ones. Let you know why I chose the monochromatic color scheme. And that's it. This is just a bad print, and I don't know why my printer printed it this way. This was supposed to come out black and white, but look at that. It's not black and white. So for whatever happened, I actually kind of like it, except for the way the lady came out. But otherwise, I really like it. Because even though the printer screwed up the print, it made this part better. And all I did was cover up the date with this flower. That's why you see my paper overlapping there. This is a hydrangea. This is a bust. I wish I was smart enough to have written down where this was. I don't know, wherever it was. This is just a flower somewhere. This bust and this thing were in the same building, but I don't remember what country it was in. This is a horse that was a wild horse. It looks like it's in a fence, but it's actually not in a fence. But this is a wild horse in Arizona. Oh no, it's not a wild horse. I have pictures somewhere else of wild horses in Arizona. But these are not them, because look at the harness. Look at the back. Yeah, so no, not wild horses. But it gives me a good horse shape because I have another image in here from Paris that the horse is standing in the same shape. What did I do with that image? Oh, here it is. I didn't print him as big because I want him to just be hiding somewhere. But I took this picture, my husband and I took a carriage ride in Paris, and so I didn't even get the whole picture proper, which I should have, but that's okay. It is what it is. I just want the horse and the carriage out of the image, and maybe I'll take the Eiffel Tower somewhere else. I took a picture of one of their metro lights. This was by like their IMAX or Science Museum or something, I don't remember where. There's 3 different statues of Liberty in Paris. She is dark. She's even dark in my picture because I was looking up at the light. But that's okay with me because the way I'm gonna cut her out is with the light. You see? So I have no problem with that. And carry her on that way at the top of a page somewhere. These images, I think, were in the Canary Islands, which belong to Spain but are close to Africa. These eggs were in Paris. This is the Moulin Rouge, which we went to a show there. My husband's like, maybe my expectations were too high, but I just wasn't impressed. Me, I was totally impressed. It was certainly worth the head pain to go to that show. And then I have 2 of these, and I think they're called pansies, and I think it's funny because pansies are tough. Here's a funny Paris picture for you. So I took a picture of, am I shaking that too much for you? I'm trying to zoom in, but I took a picture of this cat, right? And so, let me see if I can get you closer. So I took a picture of this cat walking down, and I thought it was just this beautiful stark contrast on this cafe where he's just walking down from an upper building where people lived. And he does this perfect little stretch, and he just looked fake to me. He was so perfect. I love flower pictures. I forget which country this was. But if you look at it, this is one of those things where I say to myself, what do I absolutely love about this picture? And what I love about it is that your brain has to think about the shadows. And I'm standing on the inside of a building looking up on an edge. And so I'm looking at the sky, as you can see as I'm looking up. And I just love the way these lines make these perfect shadows. It gets smaller and smaller. It is your perspective. And if you didn't know I was looking up, you would think I was standing flat right here. But I'm not standing flat right here. I'm standing this way with my camera pointing up. And so I love how this image just takes you into 2 completely different perspectives. Because there really is sky that way. And so it was just one of those days, one of those places. Fell in love with it. And it was an art museum, so it's appropriate. I just don't remember what country. And isn't this flower perfect? I think I already said that, but that's how my brain works. I thought it would be fun to have a monochromatic stoplight somewhere in the Abandoned Places book because stop and go means something when a place is abandoned, right? So the place has stopped and at some point it was going. I know that seems silly, but that's what it is. This was a bench in the Canary Islands, and it was just a seat sitting outside, covered in vinyl or something like that as an outside seat, and they used the back of a car to create the seat. So you're sitting in the trunk, and it was a real car, just well done outside of a cafe somewhere. And it was over by the hotel we were staying at, or the condo we were staying at, wherever we were staying. And so, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Look at that chair. Definitely goes in the book. So now you can see why I chose a few images, like this guy right here who, when we took our trip to Italy, he just looked so classic. I mean, he actually was in the striped shirt and everything on one of these kinds of boats. And so The only thing I don't like about this image is you can't see his face. This image you can. But here you can't really see that here you can't see that he's standing on a boat. So what I do like about this image is that you see the whole form. So that's one of the things I'm now looking for in images for abandoned places, is I want to see the whole form, top to bottom of the body, left to right of the entire body. Nothing's cut off. Like you can see here, this is cut off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting out the images themselves and inserting them in things when I don't have a hole. Like this is a whole boat with the whole guy. And you can see I went there in June of 2010. But, you know, this is the whole boat and the whole guy. And I could even use these buildings in a different cutout. But it's not the whole thing. And look at how the light pops off in the black and white, which is, again, why I like it in the black and white. Oh, this picture was taken in the Vatican. And there's a picture I can't find that I took in the Vatican, which is my favorite. And it's of a tapestry that captured me. Oh, this is the wild horse. And there's the wild horse. I know I had one. But this is my last motorcycle. I probably won't own a motorcycle again. I had this back, sold it in 2010. So this was a Harley Softail Deluxe. Beautiful, beautiful bike. I might have sold it in 11. I don't know, but I took this picture in 9 or 10 because it was packaged with those pictures. Now here's a great one for you, and I don't know if you're even going to be able to see it, but I can. Let me see if I can get it in there for you. How do I get this for you? All right, let me just show you. Here, and this is penalty. Yeah, I'll do it this way. And what you have here is you have the head, the arm, and the wings. Here's the other wings. Then you have the body. And I don't remember what's up here, but it's irrelevant. I am going to cut her out. And this is an angel, or him. I'm going to cut him out because it does look like a him. This is the angel. I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to actually use the cutout. I might use the cutout somewhere. But what I liked about how this picture came out, because it came out all wrong. But what I liked about it is, you know how when you do paintings and you so focus on the shapes, like this is a circle, this is a circle, this is a circle, and this is perfection, right? If you get all the shapes, if you were to paint it just like that, then boom, it'd all be perfect. What I like about the angel is it kind of merged the shapes together. Like you can't tell where certain things end and other things begin. I want that in my art now. I want to add that element to my art on merging the shapes to create more emotion, because for me this one brings out emotion, and I'm sorry if you can't see it very well, because you definitely need the naked eye for this one. I really want to see if I can get that to you. Yeah, that's the top, so that's the angel. Do you see the wings? Do you see how the shapes are kind of merged? In my picture and my photograph doesn't look real. And it helped that my printer didn't print it proper. So this is the Pope. This Pope is no longer with us. I forget what the Pope's name was in 10, but he was the guy that wore the red hat. So it was meaningful. I took this photo. We were just feet away from that man. My husband was enamored because he grew up Catholic. I just liked that he wore the red hat and the red shoes, and I'm not Catholic, but his outfit was exquisite. I mean, it spoke volumes, even though it was simple. And all the people clamoring just to catch sight of him was interesting. Who he chooses to have around him, I thought, was interesting as well. So I was happy that my printer screwed up these, because I like how they came out a little cattywampus. Like if you look at this statue, do you see how my statue has strange color? It's because it has too much blue. Not sure why it printed with too much blue, a little too much purple. But this is from the inside of Rome's arena. Arena just means dirt floor, by the way. Which is funny that we call things arena that don't have dirt floor. This inside I found fascinating. So I have another picture, smaller, of the inside. And so what they would have normally had is the floor on top of all those, that labyrinth, I guess you would say. There was so much emotion in this labyrinth for me. It's hard to describe. And so you can see this labyrinth again right there. But what I like about this, and even how it printed out, is how I feel like I'm inside looking out of something. So what I might use is portions of this or the idea of this in the book somewhere to paint the layers or the levels or what I'm thinking. Whereas something like the Pope here sitting in the car, I could cut out these three guys and just have these two guys and the Pope. See what I'm saying? And this could just be placed inside of one of the pages. Here I have, here's David. So this is not David, I forget who this is. And this is the original David. So the original David was actually inside of a museum. And he's huge, by the way, huge. And the original David is inside of a museum. So we saw both of them on that day. The David that they have on display in UV light is not the original David. I thought that was kind of interesting. This statue spoke to me, and it was in the same square where David is. I'm sad that I don't have the whole image because the statue finishes down right about here. But I can cut this out and still use him. This is Medusa. So I forget who was holding Medusa's head, but this is a fabulous statue up and inside of the museum where David was. And that's in Italy. So these are some pictures from my own wedding. I thought these would be fun to include in various parts. This is my favorite flower. It's the calla lily. It is funny that we ended up living on a boat. But I had these little stack of questions that we had written. I had my daughter handwrite, which was cute because she was only like, how old was she? 10 at the time? Yeah, she was 10 at the time. 9 at the, no, yeah, 10. So 10-year-old handwriting was so cute, written on these little pages of questions for topics of conversation for the tables. But when my husband and I got married, we only had a few tables. We decided to keep the wedding small, 17 to 18 people. This flower, the way this came out, it actually looks like a negative to me. And that is a combination of the printer and the photograph. I probably should show you guys the originals of these, but the printouts are cool enough. So this calla lily, poking out all bright and white, is a real calla lily sitting on the back of a chair. And then I have a bow right here underneath it that you can hardly make out because of the way it's colored in this image. And these are our 3 rings. This is the wedding ring, my engagement ring, and my husband's wedding ring, sitting on top of a sea urchin. My brain says it's the delicate balance. This is the home we moved into after we got married. This was in my backyard. We had 22 palm trees in that property. And these 2 palm trees were the perfect width apart for a hammock. So we used to have a hammock there. But right after this baby was skinned, I thought he looked stunning. And so part of why I captured the picture in this way is to show the detail in my own head of what the palm tree actually looks like versus how we often draw them. And so if I look at this palm tree, he's not perfectly straight, even though I'm standing and looking at him perfectly straight. So it reminds myself that even though sometimes I feel like I can't draw a straight line, the earth doesn't either, and the universe doesn't either, and that each one of these lines in these areas, it's not damage or pain, it's just beautiful, right? And so I like how this came out. This is one of my daughters, and I took this picture. We were having a little camp out in the backyard. I don't even remember which backyard. Yeah, I think it was this backyard, but I'm not real sure. It doesn't matter. But when I took a picture of her in the fire, doesn't that flame look like a dragon? I mean, it looks fake. It's a real flame, but it looks fake to me. And so it almost makes her look ghostly. So I like this one, and I'll be using this in the book somewhere. I might even pop her into the book somewhere. So this is a picture of a penguin I took, and it says in November of 2010. So I was probably at the local zoo or, you know, some road trip somewhere, because that seems like it'd be around Thanksgiving. So maybe we did Thanksgiving somewhere else. But isn't he fabulous? I mean, just fabulous. Now you see why I chose to make these images monochromatic. And you'll see how I'm going to be using them. I'll fussy cut them out or put them into the pages that mean something.